Check one, check one. If you hear me, let me know. Let me see. Is my mic on? I think my mic's on. Oh, here. I raised volume. Check one, two. Check one, two. Awesome. Nice to see you guys. Hello, familiar faces. Hello, Winkjin. Thank you for recommending this game, by the way. Hello, Wiseman. Welcome back. Hello, welcome back, Thumper. Welcome back, Quartzite. The gang is here. Now, the reason I wasn't on my mic right away was because I fell asleep on my bus going home. So, kind of got home 30 minutes later than I expected to from work. Just quickly shuffling down the street trying to make it. So I literally just walked in, turned on my computer, turned on the stream, and now I'm sorting myself out. So this is what the 2-minute window is for, or 5-minute window for me to just be present. Now I gotta open up all this stuff. Oh, the PDFs. Make sure the stream is going well. Da-da-da. No. This one, maybe. Great, that's open. How much time I got left? 40 seconds. Okay, hold on. Let me situate myself. Oh my god, I've opened up everything. I'm moving as fast as I can. Where did I put the things? Oh, here. Okay, great. Oh, it's time to start. Hey, everyone. Here we go. Here we go. All right. I have not prepped the next page. Hopefully it looks good. It doesn't. Oh, there it is. Cool. Is this good? Does this work? Yeah. Hey. Okay. Maybe this is better. Let's find out. What is over here? Sure. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. A very, very hasty, put together stream that I had all of 3 minutes to repair once I got home. Welcome to 99 More live stream, where we cover 99 more tabletop RPGs. This game is game number, I want to say 39. 39 out of 99, so we're almost at 40. We've covered about 10 playtest games and 39 fully released games, and today we are covering Mazes, fantasy role-playing by 9th level games. This was a game recommended to me specifically by Winkchin in chat. So thank you so much for this recommendation. I took a look at it, messaged the authors, and they gave me their blessing to stream. So as we get into this game, we're going to go over where we can find it, what it's about. There's actually a free how to play version that you can look at before buying the full version. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the how to play just so we get a good vibe of what the game feels like. And then we'll page through the full version, which is 200 plus pages, and just take a peek at what we like from that. I think first and foremost priority is to see how the game plays, what makes it unique, and how the dice roll, so to speak. where can you find this game? Well, you can find this game at ninthlevelgames.com if you so choose. Ninthlevel.com is the website. If you go to the shop is here. And you can find the beautiful art present and located within the book. This is a little bit of a prompt here. Let me read this. Old school RPG settings with elegant, modern rules. The Mazes fantasy role-playing line is a series of tabletop role-playing games emulated in the feel of classic sword and sorcery dungeon crawlers from the 70s and 80s, but built on blazingly fast, elegant rules system. By focusing on narrative over numbers and rulings over rules, these games modernize the spirit of what we believe fantasy role-playing was always meant to be. A competitor to such systems as Fate or Powered by the Apocalypse. Mazes was the winner of the IGDN Best Rules 2020 Award, and it was nominated by the public for Best Rules at the Gen Con EN World RPG Awards. These accolades reflect a game system that is responsive to some of most critical goals in contemporary tabletop role-playing design, to bring in and warmly welcome new players, while continuing to celebrate the history of the hobby in all its debate and complexity. There are a great number of supplements for this book, I believe. Not only is there the actual game here that you can find, but there's also a number of modules that you can run if you would like to run something pre-prepared or pre-generated. There's 12 modules in total of games you could possibly run. There is a monthly folio. I don't know what this is. An expansion adventure, perfect, that you could also use for Mazes fantasy role-playing. They also have dice, a dark tower, a DM screen, or an adversary screen, I believe it's called. And a deck, which I don't know what it's useful for, but I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. You can also find this game on itch.io, which is where I bought it, as I like to have my whole library in one place, as well as a free Mazes Zero Prep Introduction to Fantasy Role-Playing available entirely for free on itch.io, which is an easy way to learn this game. It says here, a no-prep quick-play version of fantasy role-playing game called Mazes, originally published as a booklet for Free RPG Day. Experience Mazes for the first time in this 30-minute adventure designed for newcomers. All you need are a D4, D6, D8, and D10, plus some pencils. This free digital download comes with everything you need, including all this. So I think we're going to look through this first, just to see if we can learn the rules very quickly, and then we'll go through the actual book, which is the plan for today. Yeah, exactly that. Let's get into this game, which I haven't read, by the way, which I haven't touched at all. I've been going simply on recommendation, but I did take a look at the concept and in general, and a bunch of the art, and a bunch of the a little bit at the rules. I believe the system in this game is called the polymorph system, but we'll look into it and see what that means. So this how to play guide is 26 pages and entirely free. The full version of the game is 227 pages. And you can find that on itch.io or the website of ninthlevel.com. Okay, let's go. Yeah, I think this is going to be a super simplified version of the game. And then we'll look at the nuances later. Okay, how to play Black Crypt of the Witch Lord. What you have here is a no-prep quick-play version of a fantasy role-playing game called Mazes. We're going to assume that you know what an RPG is, since you probably got this booklet from Free RPG Day. But you may have never played one before or run one before. That's okay. You don't need any experience to play. Just follow along. We've got your back. If you're reading this, then you've been chosen to be the maze controller, sometimes called a game master or DM. You are hosting the game for the next 30 minutes. Treat this like you're telling a story or having a conversation with the players. You will tell them what they see, and they will tell you what their character in the story does. Sometimes you will have them roll dice. You're going to need a D4, D6, D8, and D10 to play. You should get them now and grab some pencils. Any sections marked with this, read them out loud to the players. Sections marked with this, candles, are only for you to read. Sections marked with this, Mr. the Dragon, are hazards and obstacles for the players to overcome. These sections also call for you to this, which is have players roll their die. Got it. Hello, Phil Kearney. Welcome. Some sections will start with a skull and crossbones. When this happens, tear this page out of the pad, Flip it over and lay it on the table for all the players to see. Do that now with this page to resolve from the back, and the next 4 pages, the characters. Oh, so you just rip these. So these are guides for the entire table. This is oversimplifying, but when you want to do something in mazes, explain what you want to do, and then the MC, the maze controller, will tell you what to roll against. Roll against books to use your senses and knowledge, use boots for physical activity, use blades for attacking and defending, use bones to resist, be brave, and test your strength. So books, boots, blades, bones. Roll your die and try to roll the numbers for your target. So 3, 4, and 5 for boots. If you roll 1, your action succeeds. If your character could do that, we call it the key. In the full game of mazes, there's a little more to it, but that's enough for now. Okay, so this is the guide. Oh, interesting. Okay, so when you roll a die, you have to try to hit one of the numbers within this window. So boots, for example, boots is 3, 4, 5. Books is 2 and 3. Key is 1, which is kind of like the critical success. Basically, your character succeeds if they roll a 1, which is nice because every single die, D4, D6, D8, and D10, can all reach this 1 because that's always an option. Books is very small. Boots is bigger. Blades is bigger. Bones is bigger. I wonder what the odds are for this. Like if you have, so for example, if you have a D10, right? A success is rolling a 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, which is 50% chance, right? And then blades is 40%, boots is 30%, books is 20%. But if you have a D6, right? Example D6, books is then 33%, which is a little higher. And then boots is 50%. And then blades is also 50% because you can't hit 7. And then bones is 20%. Interesting. Yeah, I'm curious. The odds on these are kind of wonky, and I like it. I wish I could make like a. We'll read more, and then I'll kind of look into it. Because the way the numbers work is really interesting for this on me. Yeah, I want to know if there's like modifiers or anything. That could be interesting. Welcome to Mazes Fantasy Roleplaying. This is a game about brave adventurers going down into the darkness to battle horrible monsters and return with treasure and glory. In this game, you have chosen to be the Storm Wizard. Your character abilities and powers are all controlled by a specific polyhedral die. For you, that's a D4. Since you are the D4, you start the game with 4 hearts. If you lose all the hearts, you die. Try to avoid that. Okay. So every single... There's 4 different characters you can play here. So there's Storm Wizard, there's Tomb Robber, there's Monster Hunter, and there's Savage Bugbear. Hello, Triple Person. Welcome to the stream. Oh, so in this game, every class has its own die. Oh, so you just straight up. So you always roll. So you only get 1 die. Oh, that's interesting. That is really curious. Okay, let me see if I can do something. Because now I'm... Okay, this has triggered something within me, right? Let me see if I can do this, okay? I know this isn't what you guys came to the stream for, but my curiosity has been piqued, right? So what I'm going to do is make a spreadsheet. Okay. My friends know that I love these. So let's see. So let's go class, right? And then this is D4, D6, D8 and D10, right? So these are the four possible dice you could be using for your class. Now let's go. And then let's go books, right? 2, 3. And then there's boots, 3, 4, 5. And then there's blades, which is 4, 5, 6, 7. Don't nerds me. You're watching a stream about tabletop role-playing on a Tuesday night. You're one of us. And bones. If 9th level games ever tunes into the stream, they're going to look at this and say, what is he doing? What in the world is he doing? Okay. So I want to know the odds of success, right? I want to know the odds of success. And you have to remember that a 1 is always a success. So the success is never... hey, Lope, what's up? Welcome back. I did type D4 twice. Thank you. Thank you, Wiseman. Yeah, so one's always a success. So if you look at books, right, a D4 succeeds 75% of the time, right? So 3 to 4. That's not how that works. 3 to 4. I like odds better. 75%, right? A D6 succeeds on 1, 2, and 3. So that's 50%, right? A D8 is 1, 2, and 3. So that's 37.5%, right? And then D10 is 1, 2, 3 out of 10. So that's 30%, right? So these are the different odds of succeeding in books, which is interesting, right? Lope, I'm actually just going over something real quick. Let me explain to you since you missed it. We're looking over the game Mazes, and every class has a specific die. How do I highlight this? That they use for all roles. So one class might have a D6, one class might have a D8. And if you want to succeed on these certain checks, which is books, boots, blades, and bones, you have to roll one of the associated numbers. So with a D6, your roll has to be 4, 5, or 6, which is why I wanted to pull up a spreadsheet just to see the odds of rolling each of these things. Because obviously, depending on the die you're assigned, your odds might be different to your comrades, which kind of exemplifies what you're strong at. So D4, the success rate is 1, 3, 4. So that's also 75%. Let me just do the math here. And blades is 1 and 4. So that's 50%, right? And then bones is literally just 1. So that's 25%. D6, 3, 4, 5, 1, 3, 4, 5. That's 4 out of 6. So 66%, right? 1, 3, 4, 5 is 4 out of 6, 66%. And then blades is 1, 4, 5, 6, which is also 66%. And then bones is 1, 5, 6, which is 50%. D8, 1, 3, 4, 5 is 50%. So 509, 50%. Blades is 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, which is 5 out of 8. So that's 62.5%, right? And then bones is 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is also 62.5%. Okay. And then D10 is 1, 3, 4, 5 is 40%. Oops. 40%. 1, 4, 5, 6, 7 is 50%. And 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is 60%. Right? So these are the odds. Let me just put a conditional formatter on that. Let's reverse it. Done. Okay, so that's kind of cool. So you can see that there are some... I can actually chuck this. Let's do something a little stronger. This one maybe? Yeah. So you can see that some classes have specific strengths and specific weaknesses. I want to check real quick. Equals sum. Yeah. Okay, so the odds are pretty darn close. I would say it does look like the D10 is the weakest of the classes. Weakest of the dice, but it's not like by much, right? Technically, the D6 has the highest odds in total, but also it's all middling. So 50, 66, 66, 50, there's nothing they're like guaranteed to be really good at. I say D4 might be the best in terms of specializing because they have 75% rates in 2 categories. I could put the class names there, but the class names change per module. So it's not always the Tomb Robber. It's not always the Storm Wizard. Let's try it. So D4, Storm Wizard, right? And then this D6, Tomb Robber. D8 is Monster Hunter. And then D10 is Savage Bugbear. Like, I'm going to take a shot in the dark. I haven't read any other modules, but I'm guessing that not every module has these 4 classes. Like, D4 is always going to be like a book smart, physically weak character. Tomb Robber will be better at like martial stuff over here. So great odds for martial stuff. Monster Hunt, or at least like, what is Boots again? Boots is, what does Boots mean? Boots is Boots is physical activity, Blades is attacking and defending, right? And then Bones is like chutzpah, the ability to survive. Yeah. So, this is an interesting thought experiment. So I just wanted to confirm if the odds for these were relatively close, and they are. They are pretty darn consistent. Now I guess we could try this. This is an interesting breakdown. Is this what people expected me to do this stream? No. Is this what I expected to do this stream? No. It does look like Boots in general have the highest probability of success among the 4 different roles. Yeah, what an interesting stat. Okay, cool. This is a curiosity for myself. Probably in retrospect, people watching this won't really care. You can always skip this section if you'd like to. Let's read more of the story. So, let's read the Storm Wizard for as an example. I'm the Storm Wizard. I'm educated and quick. I have a magic wand of lightning bolts. Where are you? Where are you? Here. Since you are the D4, you start the game with 4 hearts. If you lose all your hearts, you die. Oh, that's also a really important thing. That's also a balancing factor. Let's not forget that. So, elf. 4, 6, 8, 10. Oh, these are not percents. Hold on. Formatting. How do I do formatting? Golly gee. Formatting. Clear formatting? Yeah. No. That's not how you do it. So, like, this balances it out. Kind of. See if we could just do this. And then Chrome. Yeah. So, health is important, right? Conditional formatting. Color scale. Yeah. So even though totals. So even though the Tomb Robber has the highest percent odds of general success, the Bugbear, which has the lowest chance of general success, has the highest HP, almost double, right? Exploding dice? There's exploding dice in this too? Okay, I haven't got to those numbers yet, Wing Chin. I'm just doing this for myself for now. If there's exploding dice, then that's a whole different calculation. But yeah, so although this Bugbear might have lower stats in general, it also has the highest HP, which kind of balances it out. That's really important to remember. So let's go back to Storm Wizard. When you take an action, you are going to explain it to the MAZES controller what you want to do. Then they will tell you which move you need to roll a gun the resolver. When you're trying to do something smart, use your brains or senses, or dealing with perception. You're trying to roll books, roll your die, and try to get a 2 or a 3. Great. So, physical activity, you roll boots. When you're trying to do violence, including shooting people with your wand, you're rolling against blades, 4, 5, 6, or 7. When the attack is successful, roll your die again to determine the damage you did. If you roll the highest number of your die for you a 4, it explodes, allowing you to roll it again and add up the result. Oh, that's an interesting stat. Let's look into that too. Actually, I don't know how to calculate that. I don't know how to calculate exploding dice in sheets. I'm sure someone knows, but I don't know. Thank you again for telling me I'm on the wrong page. Yeah. So basically this is every sheet. Damage explodes, so technically can I look that up? Probability of exploding 1d4. Okay, well I found that. So let's look at this, right? So below is a die, it's normal die, and it's exploding out. So damage-wise, these are the numbers. Maybe I just copy that and put that here. So let's do column right, average damage, right? So a D4 is so like as you go up, right? The average damage does go up as well. D10 is this. Yeah. We can even do conditional formatting on this. So like again, as you go, so not only is like I guess like in a vacuum, people would say the Storm Wizard is the weakest because of health and average damage. But in general, they have the highest chance of success in like... Can I do this? Does this work? Oh, well. Yeah. We're almost there. I love charts. I love graphs and stuff. Well, I can't do this for whatever reason. But quartzite. Yeah, sorry, never mind. The smaller dice will explode more, but overall the averages will still be smaller. That's just the nature of the dice. Yeah. So there's the Storm Wizard, Tomb Robber, Monster Hunter, and Savage Bugbear. So with that out of the way, with 13 pages in, this shows you how to start the adventure. Oh, yeah. That's preventing the conditional scale. That's fine. So again, this is just a quick start to play. Everyone needs to select one of these 4 characters, read it over, then fold it into a tent with your name facing the party. You are all longtime companions and partners. You each have a reason to come on this adventure. Storm Wizard is smart and perceptive. Tomb Robber is agile and fast. Monster Hunter is good at combat. Savage Bugbear is strong and likes to smash things. These lead you into an old mountain range. It took several days of careful exploration and excavation of a few passageways to find a hidden entrance to the ancient Witch Lord's burial chamber. A crumpled skeleton, the last adventurer to seek out this mysterious maze, lies across the doorstep into the crypt. His armor pierced through the heart with a spear that must have popped out of the wall when he opened the door. On the remains, you find a treasure, a useful token that can be spent to aid the party in the future. Perhaps it's a piece of gear, magical or mundane, that will help you in your time of need. You lift your lamps and torches to delve into the The Black Crypt of the Witch Lord. Welcome to your first maze. Okay. The party has a treasure. They can spend it at any time for a piece of magical or mundane gear to overcome an obstacle. There's a dangerous trap in this corridor. Let's hope that the party spots it. Descriptions are all on the next page. So again, this is like a very short free module to teach people the game. What are we, like 30 minutes in? If that's the premise of the game, it's very easy to pick up. I'm sure there's more to it, but that was not hard at all. So we start here. There's a corridor. It gets to there. Pretty straightforward. So let's read this first corridor and see generally what play would look like. It is likely no one living has traversed this narrow passage since they entombed the Witch Lord here. The walls are close together, and you can only proceed in a single file. In what order are you walking down the corridor? The players need to choose the order they are moving through the corridor. You can explain to them that the corridors are very narrow and covered in dust and cobwebs. As they are walking, they will face 2 sharp turns. Each time they take a turn, have them make books rolls. So books rolls. Who has the best odds of books rolls? It's clearly the Storm Wizard or the Tomb Robber. Ask the player in front. Okay, so maybe you should put the wizard in front. I guess that's risky too. Ask the player in front to roll books as they lead the way carefully down the passage. They need to roll their die and consult the resolver. If they are the resolver being that helpful number chart. If they're the scout, they are good at this. So they can roll with advantage, which means they can roll 2 dice and keep the most successful result. They have advantage in this game? Did I miss that? Scout. Did they mention Scout? I guess this is the first time they're mentioning Scout, right? Okay, I guess it's Scout D6? Maybe the D6 in general is considered the Scout. Huh, they didn't mention that. Maybe there's an advantage system in this game? I don't know. I haven't looked into it yet. But apparently, if you're the scout, you have advantage. On the first turn, it doesn't matter if they succeed or fail. There's nothing there. Regardless of the roll, pretend to read this and shake your head thoughtfully. At the second twist, have them roll again. This time it matters. If they fail, someone's footstep pulls a tripwire. You hear a twang as a crossbow trap shoots arrows down the hall. Success. With a hiss of warning, the party is alerted as the rusty crossbows fire. All players except the last in line need to make a boot save to avoid taking damage. Let's see. Boot save. Tomb Robber and Storm Wizard are the best at this. So it's weird that you should... It kind of makes sense, but technically you should have one of these two in front so they can have a really good books roll. And then if they fail somehow, then they have good boot saves too. If the books roll was successful, they may roll with advantage. Useful. Also, no matter what the trap triggers, it's just a matter of having advantage or not. Anyone that fails loses 2 hearts of damage. That's crazy because the Storm Wizard only has 4 HP. Okay, cool. Pretty straightforward. And then it leads into this room if you make it all the way in. Sorry, Wing-Chin. I have the stream open on one side and the PDF open on another. I should really check more often. So then you walk into this room. Looks kind of like a face, to be honest. The corridor opens to a strange chamber. 6 stout pillars line the walls. Flanking a bronze door on the far side of the room are 2 monsters, the animated skeletons of giant cats, wrapped in decaying bandages. They advance with an eerie hiss. When adventurers encounter hazards in mazes, the obstacle will have a name, a danger value, a hearts value, and a description. So danger means how much damage it does, hearts value means how much damage it can take, and a description. Description tells you what the monster does. As the main controller, you never roll dice. Important. You just tell the players what the hazard does, and they act against it. Dread Guardians are animated skeletons of giant cats who stalk prey on 4 feet, but can just as easily stand upright and attack. They defend a passageway or burial chamber with their wickedly sharp bone claws. The Dread Guardians are covered in ancient burial wrappings and are afraid of fire. 2 danger, 7 HP. As the MC, you are the narrator and referee in the fight that is about to happen. Explain that each player has a turn to describe what their character does. Then you will decide what they need to roll. Books for thinking, boots for moving around, blades for fighting, and bones for defending. The warrior is good at fighting and attacks with advantage. I will have to look into advantage. Like, if certain things have advantage, it might change the entire... we'll see. What is advantage again? Oh, it's just if either result is boots. Okay. When all the players have gone, you narrate the guardians attacking back. If a hero attacks a guardian, they need to roll blades. If a hero attacks a guardian, they need to roll blades. Yes. If they succeed, they roll their die and determine how many hearts the guardian loses. After all the players go, each cat attacks. The player loses 2 hearts unless they save against blades. Unless they save against blades. Oh, so they have to roll blades defensively. Yeah, Thumper, this is a tutorial. It's the free quick play that comes with the game. When the guardians run out of hearts, they are defeated. Flip this page over to and reveal it. Cool. Oh, what this? Remove this. Tear along the dotted line space with skulls to the side until you're instructed to use them. Cool skulls. Oh, there's 10 of them. Cool skulls. Oh, maybe they're just mirrored images. So maybe it's 5 skulls. With the Dread Guardians slain, you can finally search around the room. Around the side walls of the room are 6 stout pillars. 1 is empty and 5 hold human skulls. 6 pillars, 1 is empty and 5 hold human skulls. On the far wall is a set of heavy oak doors and heavy oak and brass doors. The doors are hung between pillars of carved stone, and the pillar to the right side has 5 shelves or trays attached to it. The doors are hung. I kind of want to address this as a player before I address this as a game master. On the far wall is a set of heavy oak and brass doors. Sure, doors on the far wall. Doors are hung between pillars of carved stone, and the pillar to the right side has 5 shelves or trays attached to it. 5 shelves or trays. Sure. 5 shelves, 5 skulls. Lope, I haven't seen any opportunities to heal yet. The party can try to force the door, but they cannot move the door at all. It's magically sealed. Sure. If they examine the skulls, tell them there are old runes written under each skull. Then tear off one of the 5 skulls from the previous page and give it to them. Each time they pick up a skull, sharp spikes extend from the ceiling with a heavy clunk and start to get lower. Advance the spikes to scare the players into action. For example, if they put the items in the wrong order, advance the spikes. Alright, so we can look at these as players. Oh, I got it. Did you guys figure it out? Here, I'll zoom out. What do you guys think the order is of these skulls? before we make a final decision. So there's 5 shelves and 5 skulls. These are the 5 skulls available. And assumedly they have to be arranged in a specific order to open the door. What is the key to opening it? I have a guess. But I'm curious if anybody in chat wants to guess first. I gotta wait 15 seconds before I see any responses in chat. I just assume you're thinking about it. Yeah, that's what I think it is too, you guys. The teeth. 1. Right? 2. Right? This is 3, 4, 5. That's my guess. Any player may try to roll books to get a hint. Wizard character is advantaged in this activity. Okay, so the odds I have in the chart are entirely wrong. If it means there's instances of advantage, because that would change a lot, right? If they succeed, tell them the runes explain that each of these skulls belong to the acolyte of the Witch Lord and were executed for their crimes, but not before a tooth was pulled for each elf they had wronged. When the skulls are placed on the shelves in tooth order, yeah, we got it, nice. As the last skulls into its ossuary slots into this ossuary tray, the spectre attracting the door slowly ratchets open. A cold stairway of dark cut stone descends deeper into the final chamber of the tomb. Great. Final chamber, guys. As you descend the stone stairs, the air becomes colder and colder. A low mist clings to the floor of this chamber, obscuring it from view. A large obsidian sarcophagus set on a stone plinth dominates the room. When you reach the base of the stairs, a glowing blue form floats out of the top of the sarcophagus and confronts you. Glowing blue form. Hello, Twilord, welcome. The sight of an undead spectre is terrifying. Everyone in the party must roll a bone save to resist the wave of fear. Anyone who fails loses 1 heart and must make all of their rolls against the creature with disadvantage. Wow. They roll 2 dice and select the worst result. I'm surprised that it doesn't say that the big savage bugbear has an advantage on bones. We'll see. If the party needs help, they could always use a treasure to have some kind of magical or mundane gear. Remind them. I'm guessing you just kind of make it up for this one. The ghost of the Witch Lord is offended by the intrusion. He flies about the room and his attacks are both physical, have the player save versus blades or take 3 hearts damage from his spectral sword, and spiritual, have the ghostly apparition roar and strike fear into everyone's heart as above. The spectre is prideful and can be appeased with praise or similar acts. While appeased, it will not attack if not provoked. 14 HP, 3 damage. Okay. When the party succeeds in defeating the Witch Lord Spectre, flip this page to reveal the epilogue to the party. I will say, once combat breaks out, it does feel like the wizard and the warrior, not the wizard and the warrior, the wizard and the Tomb Raider are at disadvantage because they're kind of soft. They can be knocked out of the fight really quickly. While the Witch Lord vanquished, the unnatural mist within the chamber falls away. The ominous feeling of dread lifts. Although heavy, the lid of the sarcophagus yields after a few minutes of work. Within, the party finds 4 treasure. Each of you can claim one of these relics. What is it? What did you find? What have you taken away from this lost and forgotten place? Treasures in plan. You return to the surface in the light of day. The maze is behind you, but there may be others in your future, where you spend your days retelling the tale of how you defeated the black crypt of the Witch Lord. Welcome to the wonderful world of fantasy role-playing. If you like this game, this was just a taste. We invite you to get a copy of the complete game, Mazes of Fantasy Role-Playing, and then the final game in Hobby Shop, or direct from 9th level games from using this mystical rune, which is a QR code. Great. All right. Free game. Pretty nice. Loeb says, is this game supposed to be difficult? No, it's supposed to be an intro. The whole point of this is that it was a 30-minute introduction to the system. And it also provided a module to play if you want to introduce it to a group of people entirely new to the game. With that said, let's take a peek at the actual game itself. See if there's anything more we can learn about the system and the roles. And I was hearing about Advantage, so I'm curious about that. Twilord, it is Legend of Zelda music that is playing in the background. I believe it is... what is that one game on the Switch? Why am I blanking here? What is that game called? I'm really blanking. Legend of Zelda. Breath of the Wild. Yeah, it's a Breath of the Wild playlist. You know what I'm really worried about? One day Nintendo will take down my entire stream, or all 50 of my streams, because I played Zelda behind every single one of them. Right now they don't really care about music being played in the background, but can't trust Nintendo. Anyway, let's get into the actual game. So this game is 227 pages. How much we're going to get through? Probably not too much, but just from the jump, the art is really, really cool. There's a whole lot of, I don't want to say harsh drawings, but like very strong, bold drawings that I really enjoy. Look at this. Look at this. Powered by polymorph. So the system is called polymorph. Yeah, look at all this art. So good. Mazes is so it says here, Mazes is a thoroughly new take on the venerable dungeon crawler. It is hewn from the very bones of the past. We take direction from the guides of Basic. We stole the grit and grime from the Unearthed Arcana. We explore tunnels filled with trolls, and twisting passageways are the same caverns mapped out by Palladium and by the Arcanum. The strange beasts hail from Arduin, the glory imported from Glorantha. The tomes are borrowed from the libraries of Midkima. From this dungeon deep, I have come to lay my offering upon the altar of the fantasy heartbreaker one last time. In many ways, Mazes is just a reformulation of an already discovered thing, an attempt to try and capture the magic spark of that original fantasy role-playing experience. In other ways, important ways, it is something new and exciting. I've spent much of the last decade playing with dice and ideas around a new, streamlined, elegant answer to many of the problems in role-playing, an answer that we call polymorph. After the initial publication of Zine Quest and a host of other polymorph games, what you hold in your hands is a definitive Mazes game. Simple role-playing rules for daring adventurers going down into dangerous dungeons to fight dragons with funny little dice. So my stalwart companions, light your torches and take up your die. We venture into the maze. By Chris O'Neill. This is one of my favorite phrases in the tabletop RPG scene, fantasy heartbreaker. It's basically when a game designer creates a game very much in the medieval fantasy sphere, knowing very well that there are literal hundreds of other games in competition with them. It doesn't always pan out because there's already so much that exists out there, and it's typically not the most successful product simply because that specific corner is oversaturated. But, you know, everyone loves fantasy. Twilord says, I was wrong about two of my favorite franchises. I surrender this as punishment. My oath is broken. My deity excommunicates me. My patron withdraws. I don't quite understand, Twilord, but thank you so much for the five euros. That's fantastic. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you are learning exactly what this game is. And if you have any questions for me, by all means, do tell. Yeah. But yeah, Fantasy Heartbreaker is a very, very common term within the game designing sphere, just because everybody thinks they can innovate on a 50-year-old genre, and it's not always the case. So I do think this is different from anything I've ever read, though. Oh, look at this. Wow. This is big. So this is the table of contents. Role-playing, rolling the dice, the action to save, the effect Vantage. 7 resolutions. Bones, Key, Crown, Chaos. Huh, that's more resolutions than the previous chart. Rolls and rolls. Revolver chart. Yeah, this seems fun. Sword classes. Shadow classes. Oh, here's Tomb Robber from before. Savage Bugbear is here. Savage Barbarian. Interesting. Okay, well, let's read through the rules. See if there's... Philip Wynn says, is specifically medieval fantasy or just Fantasy X? I don't know. I think it's just Fantasy X. I think anything having to deal with specifically dungeons and or dragons is the same. It falls into Fantasy Heartbreaker category. Like if you think about the last 10 years, what was the last company to release a majorly successful fantasy tabletop RPG? So 5th edition came out around 2014-ish, right? And then after that, what? Pathfinder 2e? Somewhere in there. Fabula Ultima was pretty good. Kind of carved out its own room in the fantasy anime-ish category. And I don't want to say that's it, but that's kind of it, right? I feel like the era of innovation in the fantasy sphere has tightened, you know, because there's not too much going on. Shadow Dark is out now just last year. Ooh, Shadow Dark. Shadow Dark is not something I'm familiar with. Made 1 million on Kickstarter? That's pretty great. That's pretty great numbers. Yeah, actually, let's Google Fantasy Heartbreaker. I want to give you an exact definition of what that means. Let's all learn something today. Fantasy Heartbreaker definition. We can ask Reddit. We can ask RPGNet forums. We can ask fandom. Reddit says you've been blocked by next to security. Okay, never mind. We're not going to check Reddit. What is a Heartbreaker game? Originally, Ron Edwards coined the term Fantasy Heartbreaker to describe games that were truly impressive in terms of drive and commitment, but that were also frustrating in that they were a single creative step from their source, old-style D&D. So basically, enthusiastic games with promise that ultimately only ended up slightly differentiating themselves from the status quo. Yeah. Basic concept is that it's a game that's a labor of love by its creator, who has worked hard on it, tried to innovate, created something that they are sure is fresh and new and will revolutionize the face of role-playing, and it turns out that the game is nothing that hasn't been done 100 times before, often far more competently. The classic example of the Fantasy Heartbreaker is a game that shows very blatantly that the game's designers was only familiar with D&D as played by their local group. Yeah, that's generally the definition that I get. It's only so many steps removed from the big players in this space. And this has been around since the 1990s, so it's not like people even 30 years ago were immune to the we're immune to the grip that D&D had. Anyway, this game is not that. I'm gonna start reading in rolling the dice. I think we have a general idea of how the role playing actually happens. I'm just curious if there's any little plays with the dice that I'm not yet familiar with. This is what is role playing. Is this Dungeons and Dragons? There are dungeons, there might be dragons. There are definitely fun little dice. No, it isn't that specific game, but it is fantasy role playing. Fantastic. We do know how to play this. We've already learned this. Maze controller is the MC. This is lore. What is a maze? What is a maze? A maze refers to any story where the characters are facing down a challenge or series of connected challenges. In many situations, this will be a literal underground dungeon of twisting corridors and passageways, a maze. But it can refer to any story the players undertake, as well as the location where that story happens, a dark forest, an ancient ruins, the back streets of a city. Presented within the game is a brief sketch of a world that your games may take place in. In that world, the word maze has an additional meaning. Scattered across the world are the ruins of a previous civilization, a dark empire of evil witch kings and their monstrous servants. As they are uncovered, these deadly mazes attract powerful fighters and puissant sorcerers to investigate them and to claim their knowledge and riches. Every game of Mazes starts at a door into the dungeon. The party has just lit their torches and are descending into the maze. What horrors and treasures await them? Oh, that's the door at the beginning, right? So it looks like that. Just a door leading to the dungeon. Really cool. Okay, rolling the dice. My roll is my roll. Each character is controlled through the use of a single die. They each have a roll, which defines what they roll. Which die they roll. The choice of which die and the selection of some edges are the primary focuses of making a character. There are 4 basic rolls. Each roll has distinct strengths and weaknesses based purely on the math of rolling that specific die. Paragon is D4, Vanguard is D6, Fighter is D8, Sentinel is D10. Cool. There are 3 core types of rolls that you make. The action roll, the save roll, and the effect roll. And it says no matter what, you will always only ever roll your die. If you are a D4, you always roll the D4. If you're the D8, you roll the D8. Most actions are resolved by rolling the die to determine if you succeed or fail at that action. Success or failure of action and save rolls is determined by rolling the static numbers of 4 types of actions. Books, boots, blades, and bones, we know this, or 2 special results, key and crown. You succeed on an action if you roll one of the numbers shown for that action type. When your character is good at something, the situation is favorable, they may gain a second die roll, which allows them to roll twice, and succeed if only one of those rolls is a success. This is called advantage. And the opposite is disadvantage. Taking an action is the primary activity on a player's turn. An action is a roll that a player makes to do something that they want to do. Sure, we know this. Straightforward stuff. Making a save is a primary character's activity. These are familiar. So this is a familiar term. It's like saving throws in D&D. It's a roll made to avoid something that the MC is doing against them. A save is almost always taken off turn, unless it's a response to an action the player has just taken. So you're responding to stimuli. Yeah. The effect determines the impact of something the player has done, such as damage. Okay, so when you attack with blades, an effect roll would be your damage roll. Effect rolls are part of an action or save that can be affected by edges, just like any other roll. I don't know what edges are yet. Yeah, so effect rolls are just supplementary rolls after the core roll. So it's like you throw something, the effect roll is how high. You hit something, the effect roll is the damage you deal. Effect rolls are the ones that have exploding dice. So obviously exploding dice don't matter when you're rolling boots, books, and etc. because you're trying to hit an exact number. But when you're trying to just roll as high as you can, the crown roll is the highest possible number, which lets it explode, which means you roll it again and add the new result. Okay, so there is critical success, which is snake eyes on the highest possible snake eye success. Not snake eyes necessarily. If you succeed on both rolls, it's a critical, and if you fail on both rolls, it's a fumble. Great. Sorry I'm not reading this like page to page to page. I feel like we're an hour in. We already understand the core mechanics of the dice. We understand the premise of the story. So what I'm trying to do is find more things that continue to differentiate the system, which is the polymorph system. And I guess we can take a look at some monsters towards the end. Okay, so I'm seeing here, it says the Paragon is the best at rolling books, which is true. Which is what we have in our Chrome thing. Oh, whoop. In our spreadsheet. So we understand like this is the best for this class, this is the best for this class. Technically D8 and D10 are equally good. Right? They're equally good at Blades and Bones. I wonder if they mentioned that. The fighter is the best at blades, being more accurate than the sentinel. Is that true? I don't think that's true, right? Oh, it is. It is more accurate. Yeah. So D8 is the best. And bones. The sentinel is the best at rolling bones. I don't believe that's true. Oh, it is. No, it's not. No, it's not. The best at rolling bones is also the monster hunter. Unless there's like unless they gain some sort of advantage on it. I really want to check out advantage to see, because they were mentioning advantage like in this row 1, 2, 3, 4. So maybe the D10 is the best at bones. I just don't know the math behind it. While you make a roll against the 4 actions, there are 2 special results, key and crown. The key is the 1. Whenever you roll 1, if the action is something that your class or aspect can do, it's a success. This is the key bonus. A key result is not like any other resolutions in that it's a bonus, not a direct roll. You don't try to roll your key. Lope, you're mentioning there's almost a guaranteed death on starting adventure. It's a little trickier than that, because when you look at the original adventure, and I'll bring it up here. Although this part has like a 2 hearts of damage. If there's anyone who's going to succeed on this roll of books and boots, it's the people with the lowest HP. So of the entire party, they have the highest odds of dodging damage, at least until this room. And I'm assuming in this room you could try to story your way into keeping them out of harm's way. It's a tricky business. I don't think it's guaranteed death, but it's pretty close. But the energy of old Dungeon Delver style games is that there are characters that are definitively easier to kill. Like, you can compare it with like a level 1 wizard in a party. Very powerful, very capable, but dies to a breath of fresh air. So it is normal for characters to be very to be in life-threatening situations, to play it safe, to understand like order. Like if you look at look at this hallway, there's specific benefits to standing in certain orders. Like it says here, the player in front rolls books, and the players players except for the last in line make a boot save. So you try to put your weakest boot save in the back, things like that. So it's not flawless, but yeah. Okay, so I'm trying to understand this key system. Well, let's say your party is looking for a thief in a crowded room. The MC calls for a books roll. Normally, you would only succeed if you rolled a 2 or 3, but if you're playing a character whose class would be good at spotting a thief in a crowded room, like a talented thief or a knockout ranger, then you would also succeed if you roll a 1. Oh, so the 1 isn't guaranteed for everything. You choose where your 1 goes. Right? Am I understanding that correctly? Okay, so the actual game is more complex than the quick start guide. I think that's important to mention. That it's probably the quick start guide came first, which isn't really a quick start guide. It's just an introduction to the system, and then this kind of complicates it. So rolling key, I'm trying to confirm if rolling the 1 guarantees always. I don't think it guarantees always. You got to choose your key. So when we were doing the stats on the spreadsheet, we were assuming that you get the key result on every possible roll but you don't. So I don't know more about keys now. Let's see, where's key? And crown is worst possible result. Every die has a crown, the highest number that a die could roll. A 4 for the D4, a 10 for a D10, etc. When you roll crown on your die, what happens is based on the current darkness. Darkness, I'm assuming, is a danger level. So rolling high is bad in this game. When rolling a crown, if things are currently bright, you succeed. If your darkness is currently bleak, then you fail. While it is torchlit, you can succeed, but you have to pay a cost. Always count success before looking at your crown. If you roll 4 on your boots test, it's a success, regardless of whether it's a crown for your die or not. Each roll succeeds because you rolled boots. Your roll succeeds because you rolled boots. It also means that while it is bleak, where players fail on crown rolls, the paragon would still succeed on a boots roll with a 4 because it's a boot success. Okay, so what this is saying is that the crown is the highest result on your die. Success is checked before you check your crown. So if you roll the highest result on your die, but that's still a success, it's a success. And then you check if that success is bright, bleak, or torchlit. Yeah, this obfuscates the success probability quite a bit. So this chart, if you want to look at this chart is only for the drastically simpler version that you find in the quick start free play. This is not be all end all for the game itself, for the full version of the game. It's just a very, very quick look at the odds, assuming 0 modifiers, 0 crowns, 0 keys. Yeah, the game's not that simple. Did you say? Paragon essentially doesn't have a crown, since the 4 is a success before it's counted as a crown. Got it. So it's a unique benefit to the Paragon because it's still a boot success. So like if your darkness is bright, you can still technically succeed even if your roll fails. So first you check if there's success based on your based on this roll, based on your resolver roll, and if you fail, then you would check the darkness. And then chaos rolls are just 50-50s, the coin flips. Okay. So here it says choose your role based on what you want to do in the game, then choose a class based on how you want to do that thing. It's totally okay to be a sorcery fighter, shadow sentinel, or sword paragon. Remember, you will be most successful when you choose a role matches what you want to do. If you want to beat things up, play a fighter. Picking paragon, then trying to beat things up will be less fun. In Mazes, we describe roles mechanically by assigning each player a specific die. Oops, skip to the end. They have more stars? What are stars? What are stars? The stars are talked about later. Stars represent a special power that a character possesses, whether it be magic, training, wealth, or the lineage. Each aspect has a different way of imagining stars and what they do. Star spends allow your character to take the spotlight and gain control of the situation. A star can be spent for a number of things, but primarily it is spent to take some narrative control of the game, either through the use of magic or a character ability. A character's stars is defined by their role. A character spends their stars to do magic and take special actions. Like hearts, a character can refill their stars by taking a condition, either as a result of going down or taking a rest action. When the character spends a star, they're putting themselves in the center of the story and doing something out of the ordinary. Spending a star, if approved by the MC, guarantees success. The MC may not accept what you want to spend your star for, but if they do accept the spend, you always get the effect. Star spends never require a roll. Each of the aspects in mazes use stars in a slightly different way, but they have some things in common. How a character might use their stars is described under aspect, as well as specific examples given with some class descriptions. Okay, so it's like a guaranteed success allowed by the MC. Now I want to know what aspect is, because that determines how you can use your stars. An aspect is a way that a character approaches the world. In mazes, aspects are useful groupings that divide up character types. Give me an example of aspects. There are many potential aspects beyond these three core aspects. Sword aspect. Yeah, okay. So if you want to use these auto success stars, these are the ways you spend it. You would be a sword aspect and using one of these story beats. Shadow star looks like these, and sorcery star looks like these. Okay. Darkness. Throughout the adventure, a party will generate darkness, which is both a resource for the MC and a signpost to the players of how dangerous the current situation has become. You can track darkness with a D12, a play aid, or tokens, but darkness should be visible to all the players. The MC uses darkness level as an aid of telling the story and as a pacing mechanism. In addition, the MC can spend darkness as fuel for obstacles and monsters. The MC will give the players treasure based on their story. Our rule of thumb is that a maze will contain at least one more potential treasure than the number of adventurers. While the maze controller controls what treasure is possible, darkness is created by the actions and activities of the players. Darkness is generated by the following activities of the players: treasure, hazardous encounters, entering the darkness, splitting the party, time passes, ignoring danger, flashbacks. When darkness is 3 or less, things look bright. They are fresh, clear, and in relative control. While this is happening, the party's lamps are shining and their bellies are full. While it is bright, the players always succeed when they roll a crown. Things are easy and safe. If things are bright when rolling against death's door, the roll is advantaged. Torchlit. No advantages or disadvantages. When a character rolls their crown, they may spend a star or treasure to make a deal with the maze controller to succeed. In some situations, they may be able to make a narrative concession. This is called a negotiated success. When things are bleak, the character always loses on a crown roll. The mood is dark, gritty, and scary. If things are bleak while rolling against death's door, the roll is disadvantaged. Okay. So darkness kind of indicates the mood of the story, the danger levels of what you're handling. Okay. I think that's all I can read tonight. I don't know if I'll come back to this, but I think I want to look up examples of keys Nope, that's not it. Examples of keys. Hmm. Class is an edge. When you take or make a class, write down the name of your class in the class box. The class defines your key bonus and the primary fiction of your world. So an example of a class is a monster slayer. Some classes will show edges with choices such as magic item. When you choose a domain, others will have a predefined choice, which is shown in edge in parentheses. A stock class defines edges by a statement and 2 questions. Attributes are edges. Oh, so this is where you get advantage sometimes. Yeah, okay. So the quick start simplified the advantage process, which said things like, oh, you're a scout, so you get advantage on D6. Let me see if I can spot that. Yeah, so these are like little things where you might have advantage in certain situations. So, where is it? Here. So like tough, for example. Take advantage on death's door and healing saves. So you advantage on certain rolls. Well armed has advantage on damage rolls. One-handed weapon advantage on defense rolls, or single blade or paired weapons get advantage on attack rolls. So these are, I think the closest thing you can compare these to are feats, where you gain specific advantages based on how you have honed yourself throughout the years. It's 9:55. It's about an hour and a half into this. So major takeaways from this game. Actually, we can look at some monsters. I think we'll just look at a little bit. Yeah, so cool. We'll just hover on this for a second. Storm sharks. Very easy to read. 2 damage, 8 health. So, in conclusion, oh, that's a lot of pages. Mages fantasy role playing is a game about dungeon delving. It's a game about exploring very dangerous spaces, about prioritizing your strengths and weaknesses and working as a team to fill those gaps. If you do choose to play the Zero Prep Introduction to Fantasy Role-Playing Mazes, which you can find for free on itch.io, I think it's important to recognize that it is a very simplified version of the game. You really truly can teach this in like 10 minutes, and it's super duper easy. It's very, very simple. It teaches you the concepts of books, boots, blades, and bones, and that is extra simplified. Where's that chart? Where's the chart that we're on? This one. And this is an interesting roll system that I do think is relatively balanced. I don't think it's perfect, but you know, it's kind of hard to make a perfect system. And what's a game without a little bit of imbalance, right, between classes? But if you choose to play the full game, which is over 200 pages, it's notably more complex. Which means that you have to choose quite a number of things to help you build your character. I'm not saying it's difficult, right? there's a lot of things here that make sense or are intuitive for people who are familiar with fantasy role-playing games, familiar with D&D. There's a lot of concepts that are truly effortless to know, like advantage, like action rolls, attacking to hit and attacking for damage. All of that is very, very familiar. There are ways to modify or specialize your character based on what you want them to be good at, but a lot of it seems to be situational. A lot of it seems to be being put in the exact situation you're looking for. I wouldn't say this is my favorite version of fantasy role-playing games, only because I'm not too fond that there are characters that are straight up terrible at combat. Not terrible, but straight up not good at combat. The Paragon in particular is the one that's based on the D4. While it is very good at scouting ahead, while it is very good at avoiding damage, it's not very good at dealing it. And I find that games like this do require everyone to contribute a little bit when the chips are truly down and damage is truly imminent. It's not my personal preference to have a character that's only good outside of combat or primarily good outside of combat, but again, that's just preference. A lot of games do like highlighting the specific talents quite extremely of different party members. If anybody watches Delicious in Dungeon, that's a perfect example. If you look at like Chilotuk the Thief, he's really, really good at finding traps and finding secret passageways, but he's not very good at combat. That's just kind of his thing. And a lot of people do like dwelling in that space and playing games within it where you're not mandated to be excellent on the battlefield. That said, this game is deceptively more nuanced than the free play would allow you to believe. You do get to choose your strengths and weaknesses. You do get to choose what your odds are. There are many, many, many factors that affect success or failure. The darkness mechanic is pretty darn interesting about how simply the buildup of bad decisions or bad luck can lead us to a situation being dire. This game doesn't seem to hold life as sacred. It seems like a game where you can very easily lose your character to a couple bad rolls. That might just be the nature of the beast, or how this game chooses to run itself. Do not hold your character too fondly, because it seems like with a couple unlucky rolls and a health bar that never quite increases past 4 for some, or 6 for some characters, you might not be living very long. But all that said, it's very comprehensive, it's very well formatted, very well detailed. I like that it's a little bit unique. I like how it chooses not to employ the 20-sided die, and it has a very interesting roll system that makes sure to highlight every character's specific strengths and weaknesses. Very smart design. If you want to check it out, it can be found on itch.io or 9th Level Games. By all means, give it a look-see. There are plenty of resources that you can click into to find more modules, more adventures. If you want to know how to run it, there's, I believe, 12 of them that are already available here, just to peruse once you have finally decided created your character and are ready to go. This seems for DMs pretty darn straightforward to run, just because there's already so many resources to run adventures without you having to invest too much creativity on your own. So that's what I have to say. Oh, I think the Paragon is going to have lots of access to magic and spells, which will help lots in combat. Cool. And that's it. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm gonna clock out because this has been a very tiring week, but thank you for all the familiar faces that arrive. I love seeing you guys come back again and again. It's really encouraging to see people look into this and really enjoy just looking at a whole lot of new games or putting your input on games that you've come to appreciate. Thank you guys again, and have a wonderful night.